Welcome, my friends, to a place where we share inspiration and positivity. Welcome to another exciting video, where we'll be shedding light on Giryama people. The Giryama, also called Giryama, are one of the 9 ethnic groups that make up the Mijikenda, which literally translates to 9 towns. The Mijikenda occupy the coastal strip extending from Lamu in the north to the Kenya-Tanzania border in the south, and approximately 30 inland. The Giryama are among the largest of these ethnic groups. They inhabit the area bordered by the coastal cities of Mombasa and Malindi, and the inland towns of Mariakani and Kaloleni. The Giryama is one of the largest groups of the Mijikenda people in the backup area of the northeast coast of Kenya. The Giryama are subdivided into clans which include Thoya, Mweni, Nyundo, Nyale and so on. The Giryama are a peaceful people who practiced active resistance against the British. In recent years, the Giryama have extended their living space down to the coast. They are now a big part of service employees in the growing tourism centers. Education programs initiated by the state included building of central primary schools alongside the coast street. School attendance has become compulsory even for girls up to an age of 12 years. The continuous migration of Giryama to places such as Takaungu and Mtwapa has allowed them to get access to paid labor, hence they have become part of manpower resources, which were once dominated by the Chonyi. The relationship of the Giryama to other Mijikenda groups such as the Ribe, Rabai, Digo and Duruma is rather loose. The Kamba and Jibana have mixed with the coastal population in recent decades. Only a very few villages could sustain them. The Kauma have also been assimilated. The area around the Kilifi Creek is inhabited by Giryama up to nearly 90%. With the groundwork laid, let's now examine background and its connections to our previous discussions. The Giryama people are one of the 9 groups which make up the Mijikenda, a coastal Bantu community which means 9 villages, and is believed to have migrated from Chonyi, a place near Fort Dumford in present-day Somatemu, 1971, p. 167. The other villages are the Digo, Duruma, Rabai, Ribe, Kauma, Chonyi, and the Jibana. The Giryama migrated from Chonyi, in which they further migrated towards the coastal region of Kenya due to conflicts with other Kenyan communities. They lacked any cooperative political organization until the late years, when they assumed a collective political identification by choosing the name Mijikenda and forming the Mijikenda Union. Brownlee, 1981, p. 6. At the top of the Giryama hierarchy are the Ikambi, which are the Council of Elders who reside in Koya as the highest court of appeal for all social, political and civic matters. 1971, p. 167. Below the Kambi on the hierarchy are the spiritual leaders who are tasked with spreading the influence of religion and spirituality to the people of Giryama and practicing rituals. The Giryama had a very strong sense for agriculture and were very adept at farming, rearing cows, growing millet, producing cotton and fishing in the Indian Ocean. They were often involved in foreign trade of the goods they produced, such as iron, in exchange for clothes from the Swahili and Arabs. The people of Giryama have gained a reputation of resistance as they have a long history of rebelling against pressure by foreigners including the Gala, the Swahili, the Mosai, the Arabs and Thoya. Under pressure at times they have migrated to new lands, other times they have negotiated with their oppressors, and they have occasionally violently resisted. Beckloff, 2009, p. 11. In 1914, the British colonial government aimed to exploit the Giryama as a source of labor to work building the plantations of the coast of Kenya, in which the people of Giryama resisted. However, due to the overwhelming technological advantage of the British, the revolt was brought to a relatively quick and bloody end. In many ways, the Giryama have never recovered from this blow. As we transition to the next segment, let's unravel the mysteries surrounding Giryama uprising and gain a fresh perspective. Giryama's involvement in the Kenyan resistance of the 1912 is of great historical significance, as it inevitably shaped Giryama's history and culture. The British colonial government was attempting to find a source of labour for rapidly emerging cash crop plantations on the coast of Kenya for environmental benefits such as water quality, soil improvement and salinity mitigation. As such, the colonial government aimed to organise all Giryama, their traditional political organisation, based on councils of elders, reflected regional and economic differentiation through a practice of co-optation, which amounted to forced labour. The people of Giryama did not approve of the policies of the colonial government, which instigated a rebellion against the British influence. The people of Giryama did not have the appropriate society in order to effectively rebel against the British, as it has long been assumed that societies need hierarchies, bureaucracies, and stratifications in order to rebel, but when the Giryama rebelled they had none of these organizational forms. The initial Giryama response to these colonial policies was based on past pressures on their whole way of life by strangers who were probably perceived by them as independent or semi-independent warlords, men who pillaged and abused the people in order to enrich themselves and perhaps also the other strangers who now lived on the coast. The Giryama were confronted with the sudden arrival of these powerful foreigners who imposed taxes, censuses, forced labour, new rules, and regulation of commerce was bound to be extremely upsetting. Moreover, the newcomers showed no respect for the Giryama or their institutions, as was clearly shown by the lack of sensitivity on the question of the K. The Giryama Council of Elders were unsuccessful in rescinding the British policies as they could not draw on an effective military system. Rather, it was neither permanent, aggressive, nor particularly strong. Nor did they draw on a political bureaucracy to organize all Giryama, their traditional political organization. Brantley, 1981. Now, let's dig deeper into kinship and language and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. The language is called Kigiryama, or Kigiryama, and is a sub-language of the Mijikenda. The 9 Mijikenda groups speak closely related languages, all types of Bantu language, which is the same group to which the more widely known Swahili belongs. The Giryama have numerous affinal terms which represents the importance of kinship in the Giryama community. First, siblings, parallel cousins and cross-cousins may all be referred to by the same term. Second, there is bifurcate merging in the immediately ascending generation, such that a father and father's brother are called by the same name, but not the mother's brother, and that a mother and mother's sister are called by the same name, but not the father's sister. Marriage may occur with all cousins except a patrilateral parallel cousin, and into all clans except the Patri clan Parkin, 1991, p. 236. The Giryama people have their own unique lifestyle and kinship in which they have their own unique languages, affinal terms and marriage tradition. The two traditional main languages that is spoken in Giryama are Kigiryama and Kiswahili, which are both very similar linguistically. The Giryama use their language of kinship to how importance of family and relationship, where the terms of address between alternate generations are reciprocated by members of the same sex or are reciprocally equivalent between members of different sexes between adjacent generations. Certain terms are reciprocal or reciprocally equivalent, e.g. mother's brother, sister's son, parent-in-law, daughter's husband, but are otherwise reciprocated with different terms. The eldest of a group of brothers is commonly addressed with respect forms and behavior, unlike other brothers who use familiar forms. Parkin, 1991. The Giryama have numerous affinal terms which represents the importance of kinship in the Giryama community. First, siblings, parallel cousins and cross-cousins may all be referred to by the same term. Second, there is bifurcate merging in the immediately ascending generation, such that a father and father's brother are called by the same name, but not the mother's brother, and that a mother and mother's sister are called by the same name, but not the father's sister. Marriage may occur with all cousins except a patrilateral parallel cousin, and into all clans except the Patri clan Parkin, 1991, p. 236. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of traditions in the Giryama community. Through Giryama culture, many of the Giryama people organize themselves in family groups that are strongly patrilineal. Beckloff, 2009, p12. This form of Giryama tradition started from Giryama's long history, which dates to 150 years ago, where the Giryama establishment was located in cities called Kaith. These cities were governed by elders who exercised a great deal of sway over Giryama life and beliefs. By the time of British colonization, these koya remained largely as cultural symbols inhabited by only a few elders. Beckloff, 2009. Over time, much like communities, the Giryama has also developed their culture to adapt to their surrounding as other. The Giryama have since significantly expanded the area they inhabit, and any central governing systems have disappeared. This leadership has been replaced by homestead elders making decisions that govern their families, and in contemporary households, a patriarch and his wives and sons and their wives and children live together as a homestead composed of several houses. Beckloff, 2009. Like many communities, the men are traditionally responsible for taking care of the family by providing food and working, in which the wives, mothers, and female members of the families were tasked with household duties such as maintaining the houses. Ultimately, the culture in Giryama is heavily emphasized on the younger generation and their unconditional respect to their elders, as the elders are portrayed to be the wisest amongst the Giryama community. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of dress and weddings and exploring its real-world applications. The Giryama people have adopted their own traditional method that is arranged by the parents, where the bride is priced and given to their sons. Marriage may occur with all cousins except a patrilateral parallel cousin, and into all clans except the Patri clan. Parkin, 1991, p. 236. The price would typically be in the form of liquor. Like many other wedding traditions, a Giryama wedding consists of music, dancing, gifts, and the fathers-in-law would bless the new couple by spitting water onto the chests of the couple. The people of Giryama have a variety of fashion, as traditionally they were involved in foreign trade, trading their iron for foreign clothing wear. Although some of the younger generation have adopted Western dress, most Giryama still wear imported cloth wrappers. The elders wear a waistcloth and carry a walking stick, and some Giryama women still wear the traditional short, layered skirts which resemble ballet tutus. Brantley, 1981. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze economy from different angles and evaluate its significance. The Giryama are mainly farmers. The Giryama produce numerous goods that would boost its economy through the distribution of reared cow, goats, and sheep. The Giryama also grew numerous crops that would be essential for the foreign market, such as cassava, maize, cotton, millet, rice, coconuts, cassava, and oil palms. The majority of the trade that Giryama involved with was with the Arabs and Swahili, which they trades the grown crops and essential materials such as iron for foreign goods such as beads and clothes from overseas. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore religion from a different angle. Majority of the Giryama adhere to their traditional beliefs or Christianity. A minority practice Islam. The Giryama people experience spirit possession. There are numerous religions and traditions that the people of Giryama people practice. Some people follow the traditions of the past, whilst some indulged in the faith of Islam or Christianity after the influence of the foreigners such as the British or Arab. The Giryama people traditionally believed in the spiritual god Mulungu, and the religion lacked priests, territorial or spirit possession cults, or even an innovative leader to translate old customs, such as the eradication of witchcraft. Brantley, 1981, p4. Instead, traditional Giryama religion revolves around the realms of conversion practices, spirit discourses and spirit possession, divination, ritual code switching, and other ritual forms. Macintosh, up. 4. Through their belief in Mulungu, the Giryama people would carve hardwood in the shape of human beings called Vidangan, which would be offered as sacrifices to Mulungu to oppose calamities such as sicknesses and environment dangers. Traditional Giryama religion is still being practiced today, however majority of the Giryama people have converted to either Christianity or Islam. Giryama have long been pressed to convert to Islam by Swahili and Arab patrons, employers, and prospective kinbi marriage, but for at least 40 years, these pressures have taken supernatural as well as social forms. Macintosh, 2004, p93. I love hearing from you, so leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments.